Welcome to Season 2 of the Biz Show, sponsored by Invest Choir. And now, your hosts, Barry and Lisa.
Hello, Barry.
Hey Lisa, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. I think I'm doing better than you.
Yeah, I came down with a bug and it kind of knocked me down for a couple of days, that's for sure.
It's
Uh, good
going
old
around.
flu. Good old
Yeah.
flu. What do you want? Good thing that we're in a distance, right?
Yes, we are not in the same room. We're doing this over Zoom, so we do
We
not have any germs being passed around
I
here.
don't have to get you infected. I'm on the left coast and you're on the right coast today.
That's right. I just visited my grandson named Coast. So, yes, I had to fly from coast to coast to go see Coast.
I'm going to apologize to everybody right off the bat right now. I'll try to keep my coughing down to a bare minimum, but being sick does have some disadvantages.
Oh, yes. So we'll just have to either edit that part out, Barry, or people will
Or people,
understand.
yes, exactly. So apologize for that now. Hey, so this podcast, right? We're coming to the close of season 2. This is episode 28 of 30. So we got after this 2 more episodes, and then we'll start season 3.
Nice. Well, time flies when we're having fun, right?
It does. It does. I like I like having fun. It's better
Yeah,
than the alternative.
exactly. Well, you gotta love what you do. And when you do have passion about your job, you tend to have a successful career.
This is true. I've always said, like what you do and do what you like.
There you go.
The problem is in my past, and I know you can attest to some of this, is be careful though, because I loved playing guitar and singing and I was in a band and Lisa helped get me started in a band and stuff like that. But after a while it becomes a job and then you don't like it no more. So
Really?
your passion turns into a job. Well,
Yeah,
I do like playing and performing, but it was the setup and the loadouts and all that other stuff that was just a drag because nobody
right.
helped me. I did it all myself.
There's always aspects of a job that you may not like, right?
True.
But
But
once you got it all set up, you were ready to go.
let's talk about today's episode, right? So this is an episode where a lot of people don't like this. They're scared of this, right? And they shy away from this, but some of us thrive. I know, Lisa, this is, as a real estate agent, something you do on a daily basis, right? And it's negotiations, right?
Yeah, in real estate and in business. I mean, every single day you're negotiating with somebody or something or pricing or
Or even
hiring.
with or even with yourself, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're negotiating, gee, do I get off the couch and go to work or do I stay home and eat ice cream and watch Oprah all day?
I know we're our own worst enemy, right? We have to outsmart ourselves.
Right. So, we want to give you guys some tools, right? And we want to give you guys some things to look out for. And negotiation is the key, one of the keys to your business surviving, right? Because if you are a bad negotiator, you're going to get bad deals all the time. Your vendor is going to charge you too much. You're going to get too little product, whatever the case might be. So,
There's
something you definitely need to fine tune.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of psychology behind negotiation and having it be successful. You always want it to feel like a win-win so that both parties walk away feeling content and you're ruining your business reputation, so to speak, because you're negotiating only in your favor. But you want to make the negotiation results feel like it's a win-win for your customers as well. So the psychology behind it is really getting to the root of what does make your customer happy in whatever they're negotiating with you about or whatever you're negotiating with them about. And once you get to figure that out, then perhaps you can give a little more in one area and then be able to negotiate, less in another. So there's a lot of psychology. You want to get to know who you're negotiating with. What is the ultimate goal, right? And try to figure out how you can make it a win-win.
You know,
Have some flexibility.
yeah, and you're absolutely, I agree 100% with you. And I've studied at the University of North Florida negotiation. I studied at Harvard negotiation. I
Yep.
studied I just literally took a class last year at MIT on negotiation. And there's all kinds of styles of negotiation. Each one of those colleges teach a different style of education. There's
Yes.
no one right way and there's no wrong way. What there is a way that fits you the best.
Or the client or whoever you're negotiating with. That's why I'm saying, yeah, definitely get to know
Right.
who's on the receiving end of it, who's on the other side of it.
And the things is negotiation isn't always just about you get this and I get that. Sometimes it's about influence, it's about the timing, it's about the understanding of what motivates somebody, right?
Right.
Those are all the things you need to look for as you are starting negotiation process. And let's talk about that process, right? What's the first thing if you're going to start negotiating that you need to know? You
What's the first thing you need to know when you're negotiating?
Yeah, you need to know who you're negotiating against.
Yeah, that's what we just said. We said it's best
Right.
dealing with, and then you can get to the psychology behind what do they want? Where are they coming from? What would really make them?
Ex- yeah, exactly.
And then you kind of could line up your strategy from that point forward.
Yeah, and with that, you know, do your homework. If you get some time that you can prep prior to this, that's going to really help you during the process, right?
Yes. Well, we all have had experience buying a car, and we all know, unless you don't negotiate with your car salesman, but we all know that there's a couple of rounds that you have to go through in order to get to the point where you're going to say, okay, I'll sign the dotted line and I'll take the car home. Now, it's a very tedious process sometimes because you never feel like you're winning when you come out in the end. But when you know who you're dealing with, AKA a car salesman, I mean, I've bought and sold many cars. And so I do know that really at the end of the day, you can get to where you want to be. And you just have to have the patience and you have to have the perseverance and you have to have a thick skin. And if you're willing to walk away, that could be a winning moment right there because maybe they'll come back and offer you what you really want.
You know, it's funny. Um, my wife Tammy, right? We went to Mexico, and she's kind of I don't want to say she's timid. She's not timid, but she's kind of laid back, relaxed, and everything. We go to Mexico for the first time, the two of us together on a cruise, and we get off the ship, and we're you know shopping and stuff like that. And this woman turned into one hell of a haggle expert, man, just a negotiator left and right. They were trying to sell her something for $80. She walked out with it for 15 bucks.
Oh my gosh, love it.
And then there's other times we were buying a car and stuff like that, and she's just like no, 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 no. And like just not bad, let's go, Barry. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so we leave and stuff, and then they call her back the next day and say, you know what, we'll give you the deal you want.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. And that's a great feeling in and of itself, right?
It
So
is.
yeah, I always tell my customers, if you're not happy, then don't buy it. Then don't, if you don't love the business or you don't love the house or the commercial building and you're not, aligning with it, then there's going to be something better. Just be patient. So be willing to walk away.
Yeah, the thing is there's win-win situations, there are win-lose situation, and then there's lose-lose situations, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not comfortable with the deal, don't do it.
Yeah.
And
The
the
most
best thing,
savvy business people that I've come across, they do walk away. They say, it wasn't the right timing. And
yeah.
I think we're talking about timing here as well.
Well, timing is a big thing, right? I mean, timing is everything, and we'll actually talk about that one as we get down a little bit further on the timing piece of it. But
Right time to talk about timing. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, yeah. I mean, well, is when if it's not the right time now, is the next time is next week, next month, next quarter? When is the right time? And that's kind of one of the things that you can use to turn your no into a maybe later, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's what you're going to if it's a no now, then your next goal is to go for well a maybe later. Obviously, you want to go for a yes, but
Well, for
maybe
for instance, like, the different types of negotiation in business could be pricing, equity, salaries, contracts, timelines, or partnerships. And so, maybe you're not willing to give your employee a salary bump or a salary increase because it's not the right timing, right?
Right.
So you as the business owner or the boss are negotiating with your employee, like, hey, we will give you a raise, but it will have to be after 6 months probationary period or something like that. So that's a negotiation piece right there.
It is. And I've said this story before. I'll say it again here because it holds true to the conversation. But when I worked at GE Capital, I had to renegotiate a contract for Xerox that GE was doing the help desk for Xerox, charging them $5,000 a month, and they had 3 employees working that help desk. They were paying $5,000 a month, so they were paying $15,000 to make $5,000. So I had to go in. I went in and renegotiated the contract to $22,000 a month.
Right.
And it took us some time. I mean, but I'm a factual guy, right? So I came in with all the facts. And I said, look, if you want $5,000 a month, I can give you $5,000 a month. But the 3 guys that we have in here, I'm pulling them out and I'm bringing in some other guys, and they're just going to be script kiddies, right? They're going to read a script and not know everything that these guys know.
Right.
And because it doesn't make business sense. I'll just walk away from the deal and you guys are on your own. But, we did it very cordially and stuff like that. It wasn't just like, okay, this is the ultimatum. And it took us like a week to negotiate this thing.
That's a really good point, what you just said. Like, you didn't bully them, actually
Yeah.
going into a negotiation with a lot of tact and aligning with the other person, like where they're actually feeling like you are there to help them instead of take something away from them. So that's really important to build rapport and trust, with the partner or the person that you're negotiating with. That could create a successful negotiation that maybe have a better outcome than you would have ever expected. So I think that's a really key point, Barry, that you just mentioned.
Yeah. It's really about listening, right? Listening to what they have to say, and then for them to listen to what you have to say. And people have hidden interests. And so you got to try and figure what those are.
There's some people that just feel so like taken advantage of, I think maybe because of something that happened to them in the past, something, traumatic, and they have a hard time listening. And so no matter how much you try to explain or be clear with them and provide clarity and, go through everything with them, they just don't, they just have a block, that some people you just can't win with. And so, maybe that's the point in time when you walk away. But clarity is key, be very upfront, be very thorough, be very descriptive in what you're offering and what the key points are so that the other person will have the trust, and will say yes, right?
Exactly.
Or meet in the middle.
And you said a key word there, trust, right? People buy from you or say yes to you to people who they trust, right? So this is a trust and a confidence. I don't want to say game, but you're also building your confidence and trust from them into you in this whole process as well.
Yeah, you don't want to be vague to the point where they think you're hiding something or you're not giving them all the information. So
Right.
definitely be thorough.
So in this deal with GE and Xerox, I had the resumes of the 3 people that were already there. And then I had 3 resumes of some very junior people that I would bring in if we couldn't negotiate a decent price.
Oh, okay.
So, but I was very factual, right? And I came with all my ducks lined up in a row. I had everything I needed. And here's what we're getting. It's more than a help desk, right? Because, help desk people typically call and they talk to support, and support helps them over the phone. Well, this was back in the 90s, right? So we did remote access, which was state of the art back in the 90s. But also these guys would leave their desk, go to the client's desk and work on at the client's desk to fix their problems too. So it wasn't just a help desk per se.
Right.
It was tech support really. And then if we need to go the other direction, well, I'm bringing in these junior guys. I'm only paying them, $1,500 a month, and so I'll make $500. But you're going to have nobody that knows how to do anything other than he's going to look it up in a database and tell you here's what the database says to do.
Right.
And then your end user is going to have to do it themselves.
Mm, got it.
So
Well,
it worked.
which leads us into like the negotiation styles, and there's 5 of them that we want to talk about today. So the first one,
Right.
what, the anchoring technique, where you get them hook, line, and sinker, so to speak. You anchor with an offer, right? You anchor
You offer the first number, right? And so you're dropping the
action out of
first
that.
number down first.
Hmm.
And then that kind of sets the entire negotiation, the psychology for it. And as we both know, you and I both, typically that's going to be a high number, right?
Oh yeah, because you always successfully meet in the middle.
Right. So typically if I'm negotiating something and I want, say, $100 an hour, my first number coming out is going to be like $175 an hour.
Yeah,
All right.
right. Yeah.
And then, you know, which actually kind of leads to the next one, the flinch, right? Because either they're going to be in shock or you're going to be in shock based off of whoever goes first. And then, the surprise action, then the other person starts doubting their position.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't want to overdo that because then it becomes obvious, right? So you just want to be
Right, right.
very like sparingly with that technique.
It is. It is. You should be sparingly with that. All of these techniques, really, right? So there's an end game here, and the end game is for you guys to negotiate something that's suitable for both of you. I mean,
Yeah.
if there has been times where I negotiated something that I was just in shock because it was like 5 times more than I expected because I didn't really want to do the project, and I just threw an astronomical number out there and they bid on it.
Right.
You know,
Ex-
I'm like, oh shit, okay, well now I got to do it. But
I know that happens a lot. I have contractors that I know, and they when they don't really want to work for a client or do the job, they overbid the project, and then then they get the project, and they're like, oh wait, whoa, I have to do the work now. So
yeah, yeah,
they expected the negotiations to come because they knew that they were, up front, they knew they were dealing with a very difficult client. So they thought now they're going to be difficult in the negotiation, and so they started really high. But sometimes that could be successful because no negotiation actually happens, right?
exactly.
Because some of the people will do it on the back end after you're already in contract, and then they start negotiating with you. So that's why you want to start high.
Right. So the first one was the anchor where you're dropping the number down first and you're waiting for the response and you're going in there. The second one is the flinch. And then third one's the silent, right?
Oh
Silent where
yeah.
you say nothing. They throw a number out there and you do nothing. You don't say anything, you don't react to it.
Yes, that's the worst feeling on both sides because you know, am putting a bid in for a client, right? And then you get no response from the agent. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what if another buyer is coming in and offering better? Like the timing thing, the timing piece is so crucial, especially if you're starting low, right? So you're thinking, oh no, we don't want to lose out on it altogether. So then you're getting all this silence back from the other side. So it's very, very nail biting experience if you're the one that's putting the bid out. If you're the one that's holding all the cards and you're the one negotiating, you're gonna, you have all the power. You have all the leverage at that point in time. And so silence is a super cool strategy in negotiation. I use it a lot.
It's funny that you said that because I have not really given too much thought to this in the
Yeah.
sense that you negotiate via phone calls and stuff like that. Typically, I'm sitting down in a conference room with the customer or client on the other side of the table, and we're facing each other face to face.
Their body language,
Yeah,
like at a poker table, you could figure them out just by watching. But now we're doing it on a text and with a silence is super silent, because
yeah,
they may not respond to the text, and then the buyers are like, what's going on? And you're like, I really don't know. But there
yeah.
was a time when I first got in the business, 21 years ago, and we would sit in front of, like you said, and we would present our offer to the other, listing side, if you will, and we got to see their face. We got to see them either, get excited and, color would rush into their cheeks because they're like, oh, wow, this is a good deal. They were like excited about it. Or you could just see them just have like, sadness come across, and they would get pale because they're just like, no, this isn't going to work, So you lose out on that when you're dealing with texting and emailing and
You
phone
know,
calls.
yeah, you do. And for me, I have used this tactic many times working with a vendor, right? They'll come out and say it's going to cost this. And I just sit there, kind of like I'm thinking,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying nothing. And I'm not really giving any expression. I'm not giving a bad expression. I'm not giving a good expression. I'm just kind of like in thought. And I'm not saying anything. And I'll wait like 2 minutes. And they can't handle it. So all of a sudden, they start talking and they start adding more things to the deal. Okay, we'll also throw in this, and then we'll throw in this, and then we'll throw in this.
Oh, nice.
So they're sweetening the deal,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Silent.
And yeah, it does work. Silence, even in interviews, right? And we've talked about this when we've talked about the interview process. I, as an interviewer, I look for dead space and then I let it happen. And then the applicant will just start blabbing because they're
Start
afraid to
talking.
have, yeah, they're afraid to have that dead space. And so I learn a lot more about them from just that dead space.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so cool. I mean, you could do this in relationships too. I know a lot of people, they just want to hold their ground, so they're just silent, and the partner's like, what can I do to, make this happen? And then like you said, they over offer because they're trying to get the other person to bite at something, right? So
Right.
it's a really cool, I really like it. I love the psychology behind that one.
Yeah, that one is probably one of the best tactics for people to use.
Yeah,
You know,
patience.
Tammy and I, we've been together 28 years now, and we know each other pretty well. And there's times that we will have an argument, and we don't yell and scream. We just basically have a conversation. And then at a certain point, I'll just shut down and shut up because I'm at that point now, right? And
Yep.
and she knows, but me being an analytical person, I have to analyze things from 16 different directions. So now I'm in that mode. And so she has now learned. Before she was like still bam, bam, bam. I'm like, will you just leave me be? I'll get back to you. But now she understands that it might take me 2 or 3 days and I'll come back and I said, that conversation we had the other day, you're right. Let's do that.
Oh my gosh. You had to analyze it first.
That's
The
just my personality, right?
analytical mind that you are. Yep. People
Yeah,
have to operate in different ways. So that's why I'm like, always
they
know the
do.
person you're talking to.
So the
The
next,
next one's kind of fun, right? Good
and you
cop,
and I could probably use this if
bad
we're
cop.
ever, yeah, good cop, bad cop. Um, but we got to be careful how we use it, right? Because it can come off as feeling the customer feeling manipulated if we don't do it right.
Well, that's going back to the car dealerships. They have the finance guy and the salesman, and they play good
Yeah,
cop, bad cop all the time.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you got a team of people, then yeah, you could do good cop, bad cop. In my interview processes, I would bring in some of my lower end managers. I want you to interview this person first, right? And
Yeah.
I might run the person through 3 or 4 different people to have them interview them and get their thoughts on them before I actually sit down and interview them myself. And I might tell one of them, I want you to play hardball with them.
Yeah.
Ask them, why do you think you can work here? What skills do you really bring that we need? You know, and it's an interesting take, but it, at the end, it works out a lot better because you got more information, right?
Yeah. There's a different style, right? That
Right.
another team might bring.
Right. And then the last one on this is what they call the nibble, right? So this is the fifth negotiation tactic, asking for small extras after the deal is seems done. Hey, can you throw this in? Can you throw that in?
Right.
Because now the other guy feels that they've won, but now they want to also give you something to have you feel like, okay, I'm giving you something so you kind of win too.
Yeah.
So now's the time that you can really get some freebie extras in there.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's a very good way to walk away, right? And have it
Right.
be a win-win. Make the other party happy, knowing that you have the extra on your side and then you have a little bit more to give back.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming, and you might know this better than I in the real estate world, but after you're working on the deal, maybe you're throwing in a 1 year warranty on the home, or the furniture comes with it, or we want the pool table or whatever thrown in.
Exactly.
So those might be things, as I said, you might know that a little bit better than I would, but I would guess.
Yeah, most definitely. I love when clients are like that because it just, when you pay it forward, you get so much back in return. So I think it's a great thing to watch and witness in terms of business and dealing with a lot of variations of personalities and people. And when you have clients like that, it's just a beautiful thing because, it just makes everybody happy at the end of the day. So money makes things tense, but when you close the escrow and can give a little extra, that's really when the peace and happiness and people feel good about, what their transaction was all about. At the end of the day, I'll use Barry's language.
Oh my God, my mouth is wide open. She
At
said, at the end of the day,
the end of the day, we want people to
that's
feel good, right?
right.
About negotiations.
So we've talked about those five tactics. Let's talk about now how we handle the negatives and the no's, right?
Right. Why
Why
are
do
they saying
people
no?
right? So, are they afraid? Do they lack the authority? And if they do lack the authority, then you're talking to the wrong person, right?
Yeah.
Um, maybe as you said earlier, maybe the time is wrong, right? The timing's off.
Hmm.
Or there's some emotional resistance, right? Maybe they have bad experiences in the past with other vendors or whatever the case might be.
Right.
So now you've got the nose coming back, or the I don't know, whatever the case might be. So how do you turn that no around? You know,
You have to ask questions
yes, you do have to ask questions, because how do you know how do you know how to respond if you don't know why they're saying no?
or figure out by asking questions what would make them say yes.
Exactly. Or at least get that no into a not yet, right? So maybe, okay, well, now it's a timing issue again because it's not yet, but maybe
And
it's next week. Yeah,
some business people will just ask that straight up. What would it take for you to say yes right now?
exactly, right? And
Straight
the
to
funny
it.
thing of it all is a lot of times you just have to ask for it,
Yeah,
right? So you just have to ask, would you please give me this deal? Right? And, at least that opens up, now you can have a dialogue and a conversation about that. The
exactly.
one of the other things would be then to reinstate the value, break it down. So instead of $1,000 a year, it's only $3 a day,
Oh yeah.
right?
That's such a great way to put it, right?
And you see a lot of that on websites, right? You go to a website, oh, we're charging you $499 a year, and people are like, oh, okay, or we'll charge you per month, and we're going to charge you, $35 a month or $29 a month, whatever the case might be. So they give you some options in
Right.
there. It's really well,
It works
and
I know that works on me for sure because I'm like, oh, I can afford this. And then you're like, oh, maybe I should just pay for the whole year up front.
right,
Yeah,
right.
right.
Um, and then the other thing is maybe you need to break it down into tiers and offer packages, right? Two or three different packages. So
Yes.
give them a low, a medium, and a high.
Because then they feel
And,
like they have the power on their side and that they're actually choosing.
well, that's again what I did with Xerox and at GE, right? I gave them, okay, you can have the high end and what you have right now, or you can get the low end, and here's the low end. They both come with a price.
Exactly.
So, and then sometimes you just have to know when to walk away, right?
Yes. And protect your because time is money. And if that one person says no, the next one might say yes, right? I always say there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot more business to be had. So don't just, waste all of your hours and days and hours on one person that's not ready yet. You can't change. You sometimes you just can't change their mind.
You can. everybody knows or should know that sales is a numbers game. The more people you see, the more people you get it out to. Eventually, you're going to get people, pulling the trigger. But a no now it can save you a lot of time, right? From having to waste all your time on this person who's still going to be a no and still going to be a no and still going to be a no.
Mm-hmm. And then some people just love they just love the challenge. And so they may be, the type of salesperson that just, really gets on your last nerve because they cannot take no for an answer. And then you're like, do not call me anymore. Put me on
Oh, I know a
call.
few of those people, yes. And it's
Yeah.
like every time I see their name on the phone, I'm just like, oh man, I was having such a good day too.
Well, hopefully you don't do that to me when I call.
I I never do that to you, Lisa. You might do it to me, but I don't do it to you.
Oh no. No way. No way,
So, Jose, who's Jose?
Jose.
But honestly, so there are many books out there about negotiation, right? The art of negotiation, and there's a lot of courses out there about negotiation. Again, I'm just going to tell you that there's no one right way and there's no one wrong way. There's just what kind of fits into your model and works well for you. We are working on a book ourselves through InvestQuire that will have a whole chapter of negotiation in it, based on our experience. So hopefully that we can have that done in the next couple months and out there for you guys.
Oh, that'll be fun. I think it's always great to see different people's, strategies that work for them. And, people need to adapt one that, that they feel more comfortable with. Some people just don't feel comfortable with, different types of negotiation. But, you have to try them out, see what works for you and whatever style fits you best, right? You
Right.
may
I
not have a
mean,
team. You can't do the good cop, bad cop because it's just you, solo. But if you do have a team, maybe that one would work out good for you. Um,
maybe, think of it this way: different strokes for different folks, right? Some people, if you think about cars, right? Some people like Ford, some people like Chrysler, some people like Hyundai, some people like Mercedes. So, whatever works for each person, that's great. Some people like the color red, some people like the color blue, some people like the number 3, some people like the number 7. You and I like the number 8.
yeah.
So, so, it's trying to figure out what fits. But here's what the biggest thing that you can get out of this: do your research, study negotiation before you go into it. If you can, prep and learn as much as you can about what the client is about, what they want. That's going to help you leaps and bounds in the negotiation process,
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh. It's so true.
right?
It's doing the
So,
work. That does take some time and work. So if you're willing to put it in, then you're going to get the results.
and one thing that I've always thought is every no is an invitation for you to learn something,
Exactly.
right? You get to learn from no's, right? Because I might sit there and think this is the best thing ever. And then the next person comes up and says, dude, what glue are you smoking?
Glue, are you smoking?
Yeah, well, I didn't want to smoke anything else. So, but it's just, there's different strokes for different folks. And
Yeah,
what works for one person is not going to work for another.
exactly.
All right. Well, that's this episode.
So that wraps it up. I'm going
Yes.
to negotiate that we wrap it up right now.
All right. Well, with that said, then you can reach Lisa and myself at investquire.com. And where, Lisa?
At the Biz Show on all of your streaming apps that you have, but you can hear our podcast. And please click on the subscribe button so we can increase our listener and audience. And hopefully one day we'll get paid for our podcast.
Hopefully that would be great, wouldn't it? We just, and we made this announcements before, but, Amazon Music just picked us up on our syndication. And soon, in the next 60 days or so, we're going to be going on a new social platform called Social Goats. We've been
Yeah.
invited to go there, and Social Goats is the greatest of all time. So
Oh, I'm
so we've
excited.
yeah, so we've been invited to come over there. So the Biz Show will be there, and then we'll also have other master class lessons about this, that, and the other. So it'll be interesting to
Step
see
it
how
up.
that comes out. Yes, step
Uh,
it up.
yeah, step it up and have some fun with this. So we want you to get to know us better, and we want to get to know our audience better. So hopefully this will
We
be the way
do.
to.
And before we go, if you guys want to hear a certain topic or have some questions about a topic, please go to the Biz Show Facebook group, drop us a note in there, and we'll be happy to take a look at it and then talk about it on one of our upcoming podcasts.
Oh, Barry, it would be so cool if we can have like listeners that call in
I want to do that. Once we get to a certain point, we'll be able to do that
questions
on Social
on the
Goats.
spot.
We'll be able to
Yes,
do live, and when we do live, we'll be able to have people online asking questions.
that'll be great. I think that'll be very, very fun.
That would be
All right.
fun and challenging.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Biz Show podcast. Subscribe to stay updated and follow Barry and Lisa on Facebook at The Biz Show. Share your comments or suggest specific business topics you'd like to hear. Bye!